celebrating the power of possibility.
I'm Dr. Jeffrey Pappas, and I believe anything is possible.
Welcome to another episode of Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill. Love telling these great stories about great people whose lives prove that anything is possible. My guest today, Dr. Jeff Pappas, a great friend as well. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
First time we ever met and hung out, you'd invited me to do something over at the University of Tennessee, and then a friendship started to emerge and we hung out. And the first thing that I noticed about you was you were a visionary. Like you had great ideas for what was going to happen at the School of Music at the University of Tennessee, and to watch those things unfold, unbelievable. Where did you get this visionary aspect of who you are? And thank you for being here.
Well, it's a great question. You know, it's so internal to me. I love change. I think change is a positive in our world. I think that people get so afraid of it, and I think that's what visionaries do. They change the world. And I'm just, somebody, and I'll give you a great example, somebody leaves our university as a faculty member, which we don't like, of course. We don't like when they leave our college. But I looked at our leadership team just the other day and I said, this is a great opportunity. Look at what they've done for us, and let's go make this even better. And the only other thing I can think about being visionary is I always want to be present in the world, and I want to be relevant to the world. And I think if you're going to be present and relevant in a world, then you better change. And that's not to dissuade or disparage anyone who's a firm traditionalist. That's just not internal to my fabric.
Let's talk a little bit about that. And I want to start where the university is right now when it comes to music, because you now have the distinction of being historical, right? You are a founder. What happened at the University of Tennessee in the area of music? Because this is a big year for you guys.
Oh, it's been huge. And we could take up a lot of time with this. I'm gonna give you the Reader's Digest version if you don't mind. I've been here 12 years. We have done great work. We, W-E, capitalized, bold, whatever you need to do, it's we. Because I tell our faculty and our staff all the time that we all have to be rowing in the same direction. I know that's cliche, but I use it all the time. So about two and a half years ago, our visionary Chancellor, Dondi Plowman, had realized we had never really looked at our academic structure in decades. So she put a committee together, and I happened to be on that committee as a member of the College of Arts and Sciences from the Visual and Performing Arts. And long story short, there was, how can we reimagine our university if we're going to do so? And I believe, and I'm talking now from Jeff Pappas' perspective, not speaking for Dondi Plowman, I think she ideally wanted maybe a College of Fine Arts or for us to look in that direction. For whatever reason, it didn't go that way. But I'll never forget, she was meeting with our music faculty, and she looked up there and said, well, there's a lot of colleges of music that are our peer and aspirational institutions. Would you all be interested in that? What I just told you a few minutes ago, I said, Dondi, we'll talk about anything. Just because, Halloran, you and I talk about changing something, that doesn't mean it's going to change, right? We may change it, we may tweak it, or we may not change it. But by talking about it, at least engages us in energy toward a common goal or a common situation or problem. And so it was just really interesting. Then we went on warp speed, let me tell you. We had about a month to make the decision, because she said, how about if we look at you all becoming a College of Music? Because it takes a lot of things to do that in the state of Tennessee. You've got to go through your university, you've got to go through the Board of Trustees, you've got to go through the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. So really, that's how it happened. We were an academic restructuring committee. Dondi looked and said, well, there are colleges of music out there, would you be interested? We said yes, and from there we got to a college, July 1, 2023. And I'm telling you, I have friends across the nation that still don't believe it. They're like, because, and I'll be honest, I'm not happy to talk about this, but when you talk about colleges and universities taking programs away, anytime I see the headline, X university or X college is eliminating programs, I hate to say it, I can almost guarantee you art, theater, or music are going to be in there in one way or another. And so for UT to take it and elevate it,
that's big.
It's huge. And I mean, people were like, you've got to be kidding me. And I said, I am not kidding you.
What I noticed from you was a definite love of the arts, love of music, but it's almost like you love the art of leadership too. That's something when I first met you, I thought, this guy loves not just bringing people together to do beautiful music together. He likes bringing people together to do great things together. It's like orchestrating the world even. How do we get to this you?
So I was in music since 5 years old. My family, blue collar, dry cleaning, Cincinnati, had a restaurant, being Greek, Grandfather came over on the boat, so leadership was kind of natural from about age 5, because I'll tell you a true story that at age 5, I was responsible for the floor being swept. And it doesn't really get you into leadership, but it gets you into what happens if responsibilities are not kept. So it starts to form your thinking. So my father was very insistent that I study, piano, which I literally hated, at 5, 6 years old. I, go practice for an hour. What we know about child psychology today, maybe not the greatest, but where we were, back in the 1900s, as we like to say. So, what really happened though, I ended up going, obviously, I'd got my undergraduate in music. And I took a conducting class. And conducting allowed all my loves of music, because I like to geek out on the theory part. I love to hone in on the history. I love to perform. I love to create. And really from there, when you become a conductor, you really are a leader. But it's a different type of leadership. And I knew when I was doing it, and I literally at one point said, I've got to do something else. And this is going to sound selfish, to harness my own ability. Because I knew I wanted to do something a little bit broader and deeper to serve more people. And so that allowed me to make a transition from being a conductor in a university setting to an academic leader. And when you become an academic leader, you get to invest and serve so many people in so many positive ways.
Possibility powered by Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel.
Now you can listen while you're on the go with Anything is Possible, the podcast.
What makes a great conductor?
Musical?
Yeah.
Visionary. A conductor is an interpreter. That's what people forget. We do not create. People think we create. We don't create at all.
What is a great conductor interpreting?
The composer's intent, and that's the beauty of it. So I'll give you a piece, say the Brahms Requiem, people know that pretty well, or any piece of music that's classical. Why do we have 100 recordings of the Brahms Requiem? One, because we love the piece. One, because it's a great piece. But conductors believe they can bring something to their interpretation of it through Brahms's intent. Brahms writes piano. What is a piano for that choir? What is a piano for that orchestra? And what are those ranges? And how do you view it? And how do you view the shaping of the phrase? How do you view the shaping of the entire piece? I always say to everyone I ever have conducted or I've ever done workshops or clinics, conducting a piece of music, whether it be a 3-minute piece or an hour and a half, it's like going on a journey. You got to start here and you got to go there, and it all has to be perfect for it to really make, a good musical vacation, so to speak, to keep that symbolism alive.
So you go through school and you discover conducting and you're like, oh, wow. But then you used a very interesting word. You said to harness your abilities. So there had to be something in conducting that you saw beyond the music, that this is bigger than music.
It really is. I mean, every conductor is a leader, but at the same time, again, all I can say, and internally, I just knew there was more for me, and I'm glad. Somebody walked up to me yesterday. We had our convocation at the college, our first convocation. One of our faculty members, and I thank him. I won't call him out here, but he said, thanks for what you've been doing this year. You've really led us. And I looked at him, I said, no, it's everybody. He said, no, stop. It's not everybody. And I agree. I'm the first to tell you, if we met out, that every good leader leads, but every good leader also thanks everyone around them. And we hire staff all the time. I've got some wonderful staff. We have wonderful staff, and a lot of young people, and they're hiring assistants now because we're a college. They're directors or associate deans, and I'm saying, do not hire you. Don't hire you. If you hire you, you're going to fail.
Say more about that.
Yeah.
Say more about that. Why is that one of your philosophies or maxims?
Well, I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said, and if I apologize if somebody actually does know this, text me or call me and let me know, but Benjamin Franklin said, if everyone in the room agrees, only one person's thinking. And I love that quote. It stuck with me. I use it in my leadership courses. It's just crazy if you think about that. I want to be sitting in a room if we have an issue or we have a problem or we've got to think something through, and I do not want a bunch of people just doing this. I want people challenging in a positive way. And I think we got to be very careful anymore in our climate. I'm not going to go there, but you get my point, that we get so adversarial. Challenging and questioning each other should not be adversarial. It should be for the growth of the organization or of the people or of the situation. And so I just love the fact that you can be in the same room and you can have 7 different perspectives.
But you know what I think that grows out of, and I think it grows out of what happens when people do music together. So if you're conducting an orchestra and you've got woodwinds and you've got strings and you've got all these different types of instruments, they make different types of sounds. They add a different texture and flavor. You actually need all of that to make this. So if you have that concept that divergent pieces brought together around a big idea make it sound better than it would individually, just that insight, I would imagine as a leader, puts you at the table in a different way.
Never thought of it. I'm going to steal it. Thank you very much. I love it. But no, you're right. And the hard thing is, if you're conducting, the last thing anybody wants to be told is, you're too loud, or can you do it this way? Or it's not really exactly what I'm thinking, because, and that's kind of like we're talking about right here, right? It does give you that license to be a leader, but the best conductors that I've ever seen form a relationship and a community with the group. And I think that's the same thing with leadership.
Let's talk about the future, though, of artistic education within the academy. Because like you said, there's so many places that are so technology driven now. Curricula are moving toward the marketplace wants coders, and that was until AI showed up. But the marketplace wants this, the marketplace wants that. If somebody is doing anything in the arts, how does that add value? And I'm thinking, it adds great value. Talk about the future of art and education, because I think it's essential.
Well, I do too, and obviously I do, but I would even if I wasn't in my position. We are never going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Arnold Schoenberg, the famous 12-tone composer, said there's still plenty of music to be written in the key of C major. So this is where you get to your traditionalist and your people who want to be progressive. Our traditionalists have to hold on, and they will hold on. We have a little mantra, and I say this at every audition interview we do at UT, that if you want to be the concert master of the New York Philharmonic, this is the place for you. If you want to create a job that is not in the marketplace today, this is the place for you. We're really looking at a couple parallel universes, to use that phrase. We've got music. We're not going to get rid of orchestra, band, choir, jazz band. But even at UT, in our College of Music, we're creating music business administration degree, music communications degrees, because we know there are jobs out there and there are the realities out there that are going to continue to create music outside of the performance hall or outside of the research or outside of the scholar creative activity. We have people out there who want to do jobs, and in higher education, we have got to continue to connect to what society needs, to connect to what our communities need, and be relevant. And the beauty of what we're doing, in my opinion, is we're allowing anyone to walk into our college and say, I'm interested in music, how can I have a career in it?
Now, take us with you with Anything is Possible, the podcast. Stream new episodes weekly wherever you get your podcasts.
I was thinking the other day, I have a friend who's a very successful music producer in Nashville, and he came to visit me, and he called me afterwards, and he said, hey, something's not quite right with you. He was right, by the way, and we had a conversation, and then he said something to me. I'd never thought about music education in this way and the value it might add. He said, you do realize what my musical training has done for me. I said, what's that? He said, it's made me a professional noticer.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if I can hear intervals, if I can look at a piece of art and I can see shape and light and shadow and all of the dimensionality of, some painting, all of these things in the arts raised my ability to be aware and to notice. And he said, in every aspect of my life, what I've noticed is that I notice more, and it gives me more insight. And so we started having this conversation about, what do you actually learn when you study music? First of all, if intelligence is rooted in pattern recognition, in a lot of these arts, it's patterns and sequences. Mm-hmm. And so you really are feeding the foundation of intellect that can be used in so many different ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. This has been proven that the study of music uses both sides of the brain almost equally. And that's the beauty of it. It was a few years back, but I wish I could give you the actual date, but I remember reading the people who went to med school, what their undergrad degree was, and there was chemistry, and there was biology, and there was music. And they're actually, as you probably already know this, in some of those fields, they're actually having artists, theater people, musicians come in and help people because we're so empathetic. We're very empathetic people. We're very much in tune. A really fine musician, as you know, really fine actor, really fine painter, sculptor. They're really in tune with the world, but not in a way that really anybody else can sometimes understand.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it to me, because we're never going to understand, how these great people do what they do, but they do form really some type of response inside of us that draws us to them. And that's, to me, what you're just talking about. They have taken the world around them and they've created it, and then they're allowing us to look at it
Right.
through their lens. And that is so beautiful.
What will AI do to what you do?
I would say the jury's still out on that, because I think we're scratching the surface of AI. Personally, I think we can harness it for positive. We need to use it for positive. But I think it's like anything, there's going to be a positive and negative effect to it. Of course, there was the legislation, in the Tennessee General Assembly about, you can't, become Johnny Cash all of a sudden. You can't start becoming Loretta Lynn, if I can say her name. Excuse me, Loretta. My L's aren't working today. But, it can be very, very helpful to us. But I still think that when it comes to hearing music, people are going to want to see it live. I think back to, years ago when we had the amusement parks, and all of a sudden they went to all these tracks, and they had singers on top. People were just like, this is the end of the world. Now it's 30 years ago and we're all still here.
We're all still here.
We're all still here. So, again, you can't say you like progress and then say, well, AI, we can't have that, because that's not fair. So if I'm looking to people, again, this is not my strength. I'm looking to people inside our leadership team who are really good at this to inform me, and then we can make a decision about how it's going to affect us. I do think, and I see what's happening in medicine, and I see what's happening in some areas where it can, I was watching, I think, one of the news shows, and it was like, AI might be able to tell you if you're going to have a heart attack. I mean, how valuable is that? You know, it can tell you before you're going to have it, and that all the algorithms that no human mind can do, if you've got this, and this, you are prone to that. I mean, that's fantastic.
The name of my show is Anything is Possible. And today you just gave me yet another aha. Possibility is connected to your relationship with change.
Absolutely.
And I never thought about it until talking to you
Wow.
today, that because you were willing to pivot and change and grow, redefine, not only yourself from conductor of music to conductor of, right, to pivot and change, but now we have this new thing at the University of Tennessee, entire college now, and none of that would happen if you didn't have the relationship you have with change. That's what creates the possibility.
Well, that's kind of you to say. I'm going to go back to, I think what I said at that time was, it's not a one-person show. You know, we've got great faculty, we've got a great staff, we've got great students, and we all believe in each other. You know, change is only one step in the direction of possibility. Let's look at it like that. You got to be willing to change to get to the possibility. And I think I've told you this, I love the name of this show, Anything is Possible. It's just, you know, it really is. You know, and I love when I hear your show, and then I'm going to, you know, mess it up, but today is the day you can, you know, make a change in your world. You know, you say that every hour on your show on the radio.
Well,
and I love that.
I want to do something publicly as we wrap today. I want to thank you for encouraging me. For as long as I've known you, you've always taken the time to just shoot me a text or just reach out to me to encourage me to keep moving forward. Thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. But thanks for what you do. And we've talked about this. We have a mutual admiration society here, and we could do a whole other show on that. I could interview you and bring out all the things you bring in me. I thank you today for allowing me to think differently and giving me the opportunity. You give me things to think about right now that I got to get to the car and start making some texts.
Dr. Jeff Pappas, thanks for being on Anything is Possible.
My pleasure, Halloran. Thank you.